Ms. Caspani, you want to call the roll?
Adequate notice of this meeting was provided in accordance with Chapter 231, Public Law, 1975, Senator Byron M. Baird, Open Public Meeting Act.
And then we can take a moment of silence and thanks. Okay, Pledge of Allegiance be simply Commissioner Romero.
Please stand.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call the roll.
Commissioner Pearson. Present. Commissioner Russo.
Here.
Commissioner Capizola.
Here.
Commissioner Saleo.
Here.
Commissioner Lodes.
Here.
Deputy Director Romero.
Here.
Director Albrecht.
Here.
Do I have a motion and second to accept and dispense with the reading of the minutes from the last public meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, voice vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
You want to read
There
the...
is no correspondence.
Okay, no correspondence. We're going to have a presentation by our library director, Jennifer Brenner. You want to come to the mic?
Sure. Is this on? Can anyone hear me? Is it on? Can you hear me? No? Yes? Maybe?
I don't know if you guys hear or not.
Can you guys hear me? All right. I can try to talk really loud too while I'm at it, so you can do both. So, all right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Jennifer Brenner. I am the director of the Cumberland County Library, and I'm here tonight to do a presentation on Resolution 2023-622, the New Jersey State Library Community Center Digital Connect Grant. The New Jersey State Library is offering a capital projects fund grant opportunity for areas that were identified as a critical need. These needs were caused or exacerbated by the COVID-19 health emergency. There are different towns selected in every county in the state. In our area, one of the areas listed was Dorchester, Maurice River, and Heislerville. The purpose of this grant is to address the impact of COVID-19 pandemic on individuals and communities by enabling the construction or improvement of buildings that directly support work, education, and health monitoring. Those last three words are very important because of how we are addressing those needs.
Can you hold on?
Can make or break. Oh, sorry. Sorry. I'll have to start over.
I'm gonna head back to the computer, see if I can hop on and check it.
Just 1 second. We're just, good. I guess. You ready to?
Do you want me to start all over? Or?
Yeah, just go.
All right, let me find my place. All right. Our plan is to build a library in Maurice River Township on the site where the old Pine Crown restaurant currently sits. I've spoken with the mayor of Maurice River Township, and he is excited about the opportunity. The highest amount offered by this grant is $3 million. With that money, we can build a 3,000 square foot building that will house a library with a computer lab, community meeting room, and several county satellite offices. Of course, if we build a library, we will need staff to run the library and materials for people to read. There is a stipulation in the grant that the project needs a 5-year commitment of support from the county and any partner organizations. This will come in financial support, which is estimated at an average of $518,200 a year. Not only will residents be able to use a library and have access to the internet, they will also be able to access services from several county departments, such as the Department of Health, Department of Human Services, and the Department of Workforce Development. I've already spoken to these departments and have verbal confirmations and willingness to partner with us. The timeline for the grant would be the application is due September 25th. November 22nd, we would receive award notification. February 15th, 24, we would receive the grant agreement. Projects can begin on March 1st, 2024, and have to be complete by June 30th, 2026, with the anticipated grant opening of the library on January 1st, 2027. That's pretty much my presentation.
That's good. You missed a few things. That,
Sure.
The reason why we're eligible, we got to have this, is because this board, this commission, renovated our library, and the state librarian came down and saw what we.
I'm just going to read that.
Oh, no.
Welcome to the
Good.
If you're the meeting organizer, press star now.
So because of the action by this commission and also the actions of our
You are now joined.
library director, they were impressed how much we did.
Please wait for the leader to admit you. You are now joined in the meeting.
So it allowed this person to keep down, saw what the Cumberland County's done. Now, just by opening a library doesn't mean nothing, but in the grand scheme of things, a 5-year plan, are we on?
5-year plan, yes.
5-year plan to literacy is an issue in this county, and to attack that problem, the library is being a center point of that. By branching out to Morse River Township, which has no library systems at all, we will help with that effort, and also you mentioned attracting different satellites of the county operation would help bring it to that area. It's not just Morse River Township; it's also commercial township side by side, which would help a lot in that area.
Right, and any resident of the county would have access to use that.
But those
to
two
that library.
benefit the most, and Fairfield, and
Right.
all the areas that would be able to get towards. So this is actually a great thing, and it's not the last thing we're going to do. And the building that we're looking at is a building that is deteriorating. It's been, empty 10 years or whatever, 10 years. It's actually going to be owned by the township, and now we're going to reinvent it and make it a focus, and maybe also the whole area could kind of develop from there with the library being the anchor. So it's a good thing. Also, the communication hub of the county is the library. So it gives us another end to it. So thank you. Any other commissioner have a comment on it? Or?
Any questions, comments? Sure.
Is there any matching funds?
No, this is a non-matching grant, so it'll be $3 million just to us.
We have another liaison.
And everybody said, I just wanted to add that if anybody has not been out to that library to see the renovation that has been done, it's an amazing spot here in the county. I always believe that if you don't have a library, you don't have a center. And all the work that's been done is amazing. And I look forward to what's going to happen at the library.
Thank you. All right, thanks.
Okay. So we're going to move in.
Do I have a motion and second to open public comment period on broadband project only?
All in favor? Aye. I just want to say that since we've had two open discussions, it will not be a 5 minutes. It'll be 2 minutes because we're going to vote on this. 2 minutes, make a statement. You're more than welcome to make a statement, but then we're going to move on and take care of this vote. So anyone would like to come up and speak, please come on up. Say your name, where you're from.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Kevin Smignato. I'm from Millville, New Jersey. I know I spoke at the event over at CC Tech, and I just want to reiterate and for the record state that I think a vote in favor of this plan is a beeline to disaster financially for this county. I think we're going to see the effects financially for many, many years to come, and I don't see it There's too many gray areas involved in this, and nobody has an answer for it, or the answer is, it's in the number, it's in the number, it's in the number. And I think we've seen and heard enough other statements stating to the fact that control over this number. But I feel that it's going to adversely affect us as one of the poorest counties in this state, and we're going to feel it, and we're going to feel it for a long time. And I would hope that you would consider that in your vote tonight. Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, just state your name and where you're from.
Joseph Carr from Rosenhain, New Jersey. Joseph Carr from Rosenhain, New Jersey. Oh, it's not on. So I was just talking.
Speak.
I think the broadband program is a good program, being that the way that we live our life now, especially in business, the increase of Internet of Things, different products that use the internet. Most TVs are using streaming services. Most businesses are using what we call infrastructure as a service, where they're using the internet to access those elements that help their network to function. Most people don't have a hard line or landline phone. They're using voice over IP. So the broadband expanding allows for more internet traffic at once. Without that, you get collision. Collision can be for your voice. You may not hear the other person, your signal drops. If you're watching something that's streaming, like you're meeting with your partner, all of a sudden the screen freezes. So I believe that will help the people who are using it at home, and especially the people who are using it for business, because it will affect the kind of customer service they can give their customers, and just generally, that's the way that the world is going. Matter of fact, it's not the way that the world is going, that's the way that the world is. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mindy Piccioni, Hopewell Township. I have fought this broadband project when the previous board was in charge. We've had a switch in power, and I'm still fighting it because it's not feasible. The broadband middle mile project does not connect one home. It does not connect one business. The BEAD grants connect the end user. That's where the county needs to focus. We keep citing about the dropped calls in cellular service. We could add towers to our existing network and solve that problem. We don't need to be spending $34 million plus. The budget that's been presented in the grant application has costs not accounted for, significant costs. We're already the poorest county. Stop gambling with our future. Please vote no.
Bob Goodale from Millville. I spoke at the public hearing, and I'm just going to say the same thing in 2 minutes. I personally witnessed during COVID when kids had to do their schoolwork remotely and needed internet to do that, and saw in McDonald's, and I'm surprised to see it was just in the Daily Journal today too, that people were in the parking lot not to go eat, but just to get service so the kids could do their homework. So if you have money and you can pay for Comcast, you're good. If you don't, it's a huge expense, and broadband will help with that. The other thing is that I think people that are in rural areas, which is why the money was made available from the federal government, should not be without internet. Farmers today, I was told, need internet. Fishermen need internet. And it's just how things operate today, and so I'm in favor of it. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Jackie Clark. I'm from Burlington County, and I'm here tonight as a representative of Jersey First. We're an organization that advocates on behalf of New Jersey families to stop government overreach and wasteful spending. And over the past months, we've been talking to your constituents about this project and asking them what they think over several months. In Vineland alone, we knocked on over 20,000 doors, and we talked to thousands of residents. And 3 out of 4 of them oppose government spending their hard-earned money on this duplicative, wasteful broadband network. We've called thousands of residents across Cumberland and Salem counties and know that thousands of them have taken the time to contact your offices. And they have asked you to stop this money pit project. And that's exactly what this is. You heard experts testify last week that projects just like this cost millions more than initially planned. In California, their middle mile construction costs rose by 40%. Here, that would mean $13 million in unaccounted for costs, all for a network that won't connect a single home or business without spending tens of millions more. Now you're faced with an even worse decision. To build this unnecessary middle mile network, you have to reallocate millions from a fund meant to improve emergency response services, an unconscionable decision. I strongly urge you, on behalf of the thousands of your constituents who have called your offices, emailed you, and showed up at these hearings, to listen to reason and honor their request to vote no. Thank you.
Good evening, all. Welcome, everyone. It's good to see a full room. It don't work. Kathy didn't put a battery in it. Sorry about that. I guess we didn't have money for a new battery. How about that?
Yeah, I'm gonna get right on it.
Good evening. I'm Nancy Ridgway from Upper Deerfield and Fairfield Township. I hope you all read Resolution 2023-559, a resolution authorizing acceptance and execution of the grant agreement for the Middle Mile Broadband Grant Program and amending and supplementing Resolution 2022-582. I got another 30 seconds. I read this. I read the terms and conditions, and this is what I asked of you tonight. Most likely, you are going to approve this. So you have to give the government updates of what's going on, financially and construction-wise. And we've been told many times that this is a transparent board. I would like to know what's going on too. So when you give the government your responses, please make sure all of us are informed as well. Thank you. Bravo.
Anyone else? Seeing no one, can I have a motion to close the public session?
I'll make a motion. Second.
All in favor? Aye. All right, so we will take the resolution up. Each member of this board, as they vote, may make a statement like normal, and why or why not you're voting for. We've had vigorous, this board has done their homework this the last 7 months asking questions. I'm going to say the statement real quick. And we've also had opened, we had 2 public meetings. We've also been on live streamed on our meetings when it's been discussed. I think if they didn't get their, because a lot of people say they haven't got their questions answered, we've tried. Each commissioner has, in their own way, has looked into this. It's been since 2021, I think, is when it first was introduced, talked about, but we got a call saying that we were accepted just less than a month to 2 months ago now, beginning of July. They've given us a short period of window to accept or not to accept. we get a 30-day extension. And here we are, August 31st is the deadline to accept. So that's why there's a pressure situation to either approve or not approve, or we would take more time. So with that said, and I would open it to, if you want to start out.
Resolution 2023-559, resolution authorizing acceptance and execution of a grant agreement for the Middle Mile Grant Program and amending and supplementing Resolution 2022-582. Do I have a motion and second?
So moved. Second.
Commissioner Pearson.
And we are voting yea or nay on this. I want to make that clear, right? Okay. Before I cast my vote, I am going to say that 23 years ago, I sat on this board, and back and forth between Verizon, Comcast, and any other provider, because Cumberland County needed the services. Our residents do not get full coverage. Cumberland is already considered the backwoods of the state. I worked in Trenton, and you hear it. This will bring this county up into the 21st century. Those of us who can afford Comcast, those of us who can afford all the services, they get the services. That's not a problem. But I am tired of going to my aunt's house and being concerned that I can't make an emergency phone call on my cell because her little pocket of Bridgeton does not have coverage. It's not fair to the residents. It's not fair to the students that we teach. I am tired of politics getting into the middle of a lot of these issues that we need to resolve in this county. I am voting yes. I would vote yes again. I would vote again. And I am voting an unequivocal yes. We're getting unprecedented monies of this magnitude from the federal government. One out of how many people who applied? You don't know what's going to happen because we never had this before. Let's try it and see where it goes. So my vote is yes.
Commissioner Musso.
Well said, Donna. And I agree. I'm been from the western part of town all my life. Mr. Corey said, from Roseanne, that's my town I'm from. And for many years, we have the same. We have businesses, and we have, during COVID, we had students that did not have internet. They still have issues. I was just told recently from one of our board members that they had where the testing of the students is lower than it was before. We can't continue to have this. We can't continue to have these children keep fighting because now they're behind. So I'm definitely voting yes, and I just think it's going to make our county a better place.
Commissioner Capizola.
As my predecessors here explained well, I'm an educator. I wouldn't be able to look at my students in the face and vote no on this. We're getting $25 million from the federal government, and you can smile and laugh, but during the pandemic, I had to stare at their faces. And like I said, you see people sitting in Burger King or McDonald's parking lot, and you feel bad. They're doing phys ed classes in the parking lot. And this is a bipartisan thing. This is going to bring infrastructure to our county. It's a no-brainer. Look at our tech school. There was a lot of people that were against it. Now it's a shining star in our county. And I feel like this decision, we're going to look back and we're going to be like, it was the right decision. Are there going to be bumps in the road? Is there going to be problems? We'll deal with them as they come along. And we'll keep an open book for people so everyone knows what's going on. And my vote is yes.
Commissioner Salea.
This particular project is like the rain. Don't complain about the rain, complain about the timing. Unfortunately, this county cannot afford to put this project in place. It's underfunded. Several authorities have claimed that this is underfunded. I'm not willing to spend other people's money based on a speculation. There's not enough corroborating information from either side sufficient enough to prove that a middle mile is going to bring any type of gains to this area right now. We have a lot more important infrastructure to handle today Raritan Industrial Center didn't start because it had broadband. And if anybody's familiar with Raritan Industrial Center, up in Edison, New Jersey, you've heard of the name of Keysby, it's the largest industrial center in the state. And that happened over 40 years ago. Where was cable? The county is limited in their funds. The county is limited in their surplus. This is not the right time to be gambling with other people's money. I'm a very conservative man. I have taken gambles in my life in business with my own money, not with someone else's. If someone else is stupid enough to do it, then God will you. But it's not the smart thing to do. So therefore, I'm a definite no. One more thing. If this should go down and go well, which in all intents and purposes, it looks like it's going to go and be passed, I will help the best I can with my background and my experience in the construction field. But I'm not going to be a hindrance to it. But I just don't think it's the right thing to do. Thank you.
Commissioner Lodes.
I first want to really thank the public on helping to give us feedback on this decision. This is not black and white, and it is not an easy decision. And I can speak for all of the other commissioners on this board and myself when I can say that we have earned our keep in our due diligence and our research on this vote. There is nothing that we have not read, that we have not looked at. It is not an easy yes or no. It's way more complex than a boilerplate that exists on a lawn sign or propaganda that's going out by one organization or another. It cannot be boiled down into that simple of a form, I do not believe. So I want to thank all of the public members that came out to our public hearing sessions, the feedback that they've given us, the emails we've received, the correspondence that has come to us, the phone calls. You are doing your job as educated and concerned citizens. Thank you for that. I want to thank our congressman for advocating for us here in South Jersey to be eligible to receive this grant. I especially want to thank Senator Testa, who sat through 4 hours of public commentary at our Cumberland County public hearing last week. I've been involved in government in one way or another in nearly 25 years, and I can tell you it's rare, if not unheard of, that you have a state senator sit through 4 hours of public commentary. But he stood by us. He wanted to hear it just the way we did. I know what I heard in that meeting, and I know what all of you heard, and I heard a whole lot of lack of answers from VCOM, from expenses that were proposed in that budget. I don't know exactly what those numbers are. They were not clear. There were a lot of questions left to be answered. When I look at this, I really want to say that I abstain, because truly there is not enough information that we have been given. However, I think that's a cop-out as a public official, an abstention. So I will not do that. Today's vote is to accept this grant money, to accept $24 million of public grant money. If we don't accept it, that goes somewhere else. It's not that we're saving taxpayer dollars. That's not happening. What's happening is we're giving somebody else an opportunity that maybe is a better fit for them or not. I don't know. That is too left to be seen. Because at this point, once we accept this grant money, what has to happen next in government is that we have to put out those RFPs to find out exactly what our expenses are. And those are the questions that we don't have right now. So my decision, as I sit here, is to decide if I should turn away $24 million because we don't have enough answers. I have seen those kids' faces. I've seen my own children's faces. I know that we are evolving into the next generation of technology. As one population ages out, I have an 88-year-old grandfather. He doesn't use the internet. I assure you that my children will be when they are adults. Yes, I have service. Is it excellent service? Is it flawed? Absolutely it is flawed. When I was home over COVID, I was teaching online. My husband was working. My 2 children were streaming, going to school online. Our internet blinked in and out all the time. Many students, same thing. As we grow and evolve as a community, as a population, we're going to put more of a demand on our broadband needs in this area, in the entire world, really. As we move forward, in the next phase of accepting this grant money, I can commit to you as the taxpayer that I am going to go through each and every RFP that we get to make sure that this is something we can afford. If it is not, if I don't feel comfortable with that, then I'm going to follow the lead of our Salem County Commissioner counterparts, who when they voted last week to accept this, said if it comes back that the numbers do not add up and we cannot afford this, we will return that grant money. And that is what we will do. We don't have enough answers, and I, like Commissioner Cilio, am not willing to gamble with your tax dollars or your opportunities here in South Jersey. We continue to talk about why we're at the bottom of the list of 21 out of 21 counties. Well, maybe it's missed opportunities. I want to spend the time and do the due diligence to get updated numbers, to get accurate RFPs that VCOM failed to give us in this process, and actually be able to make a sound decision. And if this is something that those accurate numbers do not come back to say that we can afford as a county, then we will return that grant money and we will not follow through with this project. My vote tonight is to accept this grant money and move forward with the due diligence and the research that should have been done leading up to this moment. And if those needs are not met, we are returning that money and we will not follow through with this project.
Deputy Director Romero.
Well, I followed this project from the beginning. I have sat down with VCOM, Comcast. I have talked to Comcast 20 times. I talked to VCOM, I asked them questions. I asked the CCIA questions. They could never give you a right answer. So I went back because they had no cost or really what the charges are on the poles, how the maintenance program works. I sat with them. They would not give me any answers. I'm not satisfied with it. We went on and we sat together here with a gentleman from that spent many years in the Atlantic City Electric, and it came out that we are going to spend a lot more money than what you really have planned. And after spending 15 years in the cable business myself, as a manager of store cable in Miami, I could tell you that President Reagan said, leave this business to the private sector because they know what they're doing. Since these people have not given us a positive answer in all our questions, VCOM, CCIA, you saw the outcome of the CCIA with our jail. Where is it? Right? So I trust them? So I gamble with taxpayers' money today? I don't think so. I don't think I would gamble with you people's money. If you want to gamble, we got Atlantic City right up the street. That's where you gamble with your money. But I'm not going to sit here and gamble with your money. So we have done some studying. I even offer CCIA to bring down the mid-mile. So people like in Lawrence, Downey, Upper Deerfield, Lower Deerfield, Stone Creek, not Hopewell or Vineland or anything, but all the townships that don't have any service, at the end of all this, that you guys are voting yes, they're still going to have no service. And that's all the kids that you guys are talking about. This is what this grant was set for, to give this kid service. None of you have taken a chance to talk about that. You talk about giving service to the kids. Well, in Vineland is a town of its own. Guys, it was built, the way it's built in the agriculture of Vineland is that it will survive by itself because they own their own power. They own their own telephone poles. This county don't. We don't own our own sewer. We don't own everything. Some areas, like these people are forgetting about, don't even have a sewer. and they'd be promising a sewer for it. Imagine that. And they'd be promising them a sewer. Water, they don't even have their own water. And we promise them cable or broadband. You know, it's time that we really start considering what our needs are county. I mapped it out for CCIA, another fee through the cable company to make this work. I spent 15 years doing this. They won't even consider. You know, VCon, I guess it's got the green light with no answers, no experience, because they cannot really tell me who in New Jersey they were, you know, they did a broadband for. They cannot even use. So we could do all those kids near the water that don't have those services, and that's what you guys are concerned. I mean, this is what broadband is about, giving service to those who never had service. Yet we sit here and give it to those people like in Millville, Vineland, Hopewell, and Bridgeton that have cable TV. And we worry about being competitive, give them competition. We worry about that. I mean, some of you guys are running for service, for re-election. You know, you better consider this. And I said it before, you better consider this, because those kids are not going to have anything at the end of these 3 years. And you better consider that. And that's what I'm worried about. It's not about business. It's not about business. It's about broadband coming down and giving service to those kids who never had any. My answer is no.
Director Albrecht.
Yeah, I've heard what Commissioner Romero said. This is a middle mile project. It is, we have not, like I said, how to start. The first question I ask people, do you consider that we have, do we have good communication in this county? I guess it's the first question I ask, and that will tell me where they're from or answer the question. We don't have good communication. And I talk, I around the county, drive, I probably hit every place at Salem, every place at Cumberland, and I've had phone calls drop or areas that have no coverage at all. And when people, and I'll say this, people say, well, this is not a cellular project. It is a cellular project. The future is, in this phone, it's not voice, it's the data to transfer, and fiber optics is part of that. This county is ill-prepared to go forward, and this project, which is not perfect, it's not perfect by any means, but we'll work at it. We'll figure it out. And I get insulted that the jail, which was before my service, which I was the longest served on our side, is being equated. We didn't do that project. We're going to solve that project shortly, but that project was not made. Those decisions weren't made by this board or this commission. And to equate that with it is insane. What do we have at stake? We have $4.7 million at stake. We're going to receive a grant of $24 million. Salem, who's a partner in this, is kicking in $2.3 or $2.4 million. They have to build their 700 system. We have already committed and built our 700 system, and it's in the process of finishing up. We've actually put our money where our mouth is and actually taken care of our first responders by building the 700 system. Now, the money that this grant was, this bond that we were talking about, was always set aside for this project. We find now that the verbiage wasn't done right, so we're going to reconsider. That project, the 700 system, has enough money to finish up, and which it will finish up the first quarter of 2024. It will finish up and has enough money to do that. When that's done, now we look at the next step. And the next step is to look at this. This county has been 21 out of 21 in almost every category, and health we're 20th now, but in every category we've been that. So how do we get out of this? How do we change? To stay the same place we are now, which is nowhere. We don't have a good system that's through our county. We have providers that do a great job in the area they do, but they have a model that it has to be feasible to expand. We're giving maybe giving them an opportunity to go into areas they would not otherwise build because it's not practical. So we're doing the hard work. This is an infrastructure project. Simple as that. It's an infrastructure project. Government can do infrastructure projects. Sewer, water, we do that. This is an infrastructure project. We can put cable down. And I'll say this, it's cable that's dark. It's dark fiber. We are not lighting it up. And the reason why you don't light up, because government cannot do technology. We cannot keep up with the technology of the future, now or in the future. So we are laying a cable, a fiber optic wire that's been around since the 80s. Since the 80s it's been around. We're laying that down. Now that we're planning to do that, and I guess we now can at least start to think about doing it, yeah, there are questions. And Commissioner Williams is correct. There are questions that we need answered. Part of the other parts of this thing is that we're going to bring a grants coordinator because they're going to be tough on us. The NTIA is going to be asking for information, and I'm sure that information is public, and we'll make it public like we always do, like we've done from day one here, been as transparent as possible. The other one is a construction, a engineer, and so I didn't stop there. I was looking at engineer. I asked our county engineer and our engineer from CCUA to sit in on these meetings to make sure that we're not being bamboozled, or we're missing something, because they may be able to see what I can't see. And with their experience on building infrastructure projects, I'm sure they could give their 2 cents. They may not be experts on fiber, but they know how to get a right-of-way. They know how to cross over a bridge or go over a railroad. They know how to talk to the utilities on what has to be done. They've done this over and over again. Now, let me say this. This is $34 million. We're getting 24.1. We're sharing with the county of Salem. We're putting $4.7 million. Oh, I forgot. Every year this board borrows $6 million to do projects. So what have we risked? We're going to borrow $6 million for capital projects again. No more important capital project than this, because this is the highway to the future. The fiber optics is what everything's going to be tied to. And we are behind.
You don't have to yell, sir. Keep going.
We're 20, 30 years behind. And maybe this gets on par with every other county. And then maybe our businesses can compete. Maybe our people can tie into it. Yeah, it's not the end. And the BEAD money you talk about, yeah, the BEAD money may work perfect with this, because now we've reached maybe a mile or 5 miles from a place, and they could tie in more reasonable than a 37-mile run that the city of Vineland does to Deepwater and Salem. 37 miles they pay per square foot. They pay, which I'm a resident, and it kind of upsets me that they run that way, that far away. 37 miles. So if I can cut that down to maybe our municipalities, and it's not just our southern part. I walk in Bridgeton, they don't have internet, they don't have services. I walk in, and there are parts at Hopewell, Upper Deerfield that don't have it. There are parts in Fairfield definitely doesn't have any cellular coverage, and I've been told why they don't have cellular coverage. Well, our towers, I'm getting into this because this is part of this middle mile project to increase our cellular. It's a part that had to be addressed. We've built the 700 system, I said. The 700 system is strategically placed so we have full coverage to the entire county. And then we got Salem also. That's been the reason why it was built, to make sure we can cover everything. We're going to take full advantage of that now. Now, I'm sorry for yelling, but it's important to me to get this across, because I've talked to a blue in the face. My staff has many issues with this, and I think that's a plus. And it's a plus because they will question everything. They will make sure the I's are dotted, the T's are crossed. They will question everybody we bring in to make sure they're doing the right thing. And to me, I appreciate that they will look at it that way, because we have to be on target. When I got sworn in, I said one thing, I said, let's think big, not small. And this is the perfect opportunity to stop thinking small, think big. Cumberland County, along with our counterpart Salem, could finally move into an area that we've never been to compete against any other county. We're right outside Philadelphia, we're outside Wilmington, we're not too far from DC, we're not too far from New York, we're not too far from Pittsburgh, we're right in the center of everything. And now we can communicate with them just like they do, communicate every day. I just want to make sure I don't miss anything here, because
It was a 2-minute limit for us too, right?
I asked Donna not to stop me tonight, so, all right, so she didn't stop me, so. Our rural character is it's a strength. People want to be away in areas where they can be outside. Well, there's also a downfall to that. We have to have good communication to make sure that can happen, and people can actually live here, work here, function here, communicate anywhere here, and this is the step. Component to this, but it's not going to be us. We may do the run by the house because we get bead money, and we don't have bead money. We have this in our hand. Companies will see an opportunity. They will take advantage of this. And that sounds like, oh, it's a law. That's a vision, Doug. It's not reality. No, it is a reality. We had a nice conversation with a guy who's been doing rural broadband for over 20 years, and he pointed out to us that this is another. We're in a different. This is the next thing the government's done, because they used to give money directly to the companies to pull this off. And what they found is that the companies took the money, did exactly what they normally do, went in the areas that were the most profitable, will meet their numbers, and then they decided that it was okay to take the fine, because if they took the fine, it was a business decision, and they didn't complete the other areas. So the government decided that they had to do it differently. So, because people have been asking, why don't we just give the money to the companies? That's the problem. They are